2 weeks of being snowed in up here on the mountain has taught me a lot about letting go. The basis of what yielding does for us as we move through life, making our life more like a hero's journey, is it allows us to start loosening our attachment to the story. Because while living life more like a hero's journey does involve crafting a story, if you're only going to get attached to that story instead of the one you had, the results won't be so different. There needs to be a story. We tell stories, we communicate that way. It's what we do as people. I mean, if you look at any great story, any great hero's journey story, it starts with the hero going, "Who am I? Who is Luke Skywalker? Who's the Karate Kid?" Their whole journey becomes about that. And we are interested because we want that same thing for ourselves. And it's some of the deepest communication we can have with others, sharing that journey of finding ourselves. And being with other people who are also going through that is incredibly transformative, because you create a space where things can catalyze in a way that they don't without that kind of support. Because these things aren't easy. You're really coming up against so much stuff we can't even see. Our stuff that's in our shadow, that's our instincts almost as humans, that our minds really spend a lot of time working against. But when we start to get in touch with that, actually who we are. I go to my dog all the time for understanding the connection to the present moment. And cats are like this too. They don't have that thinking mind. Even the ones that have been abused, they'll be scared and they'll remember, but they won't hold on to that story. They'll change that story in the face of new evidence. They're right there in the moment. They're operating with their instincts. They're embracing everything about who they are without thinking about anything. And while our thinking minds are super useful, they're not always useful in every situation. For example, they're not useful at times where we're treating life as a problem to be solved. If we're looking at life as a problem to be solved, all we have to operate with is our problem-solving mind. And that's full of doubt, that's full of all kinds of just stinking thinking. If we're relying on just our minds for the answers to the question, who am I? We're never going to get there. Because who we are is not our story. It's not our mind. It's something deeper than that. It's the inner peace we find when we transcend our story. And that's really what the hero's journey is. The hero's journey is a journey through the world to our own inner world. So through the outside world, we come to know ourselves and who we are. And that isn't defined by the journey, the story, anything about that. That knowledge is inner peace. That knowledge is something we can share as who we are, not what we know or what we are. And that to me was the real gift that when my aunt told me when I was 22 to go out and live life like a hero's journey, something about that just resonated with me, even though I denied it at first. And it literally took me almost 40 years of living that way to finally see where it was all going. And I think that's where Awaken Your Myth came out of, is that it all finally came together. And I was like, oh, I see. This out here in the world is a way to this in here, which is a truth and a peace and a sense of knowing that's non-conceptual of who we are, that we're all searching for. Approaching it as a journey where that's where it's heading, and it happens here in the real world, and it happens with what happens to us every day. It isn't about something special needing to happen. It's about taking what is happening and moving from there.